went to school to get my A&P. So I was able to be a mechanic if need be. So airframe and power plant. So in addition to the flying and the ratings of being a pilot, I also have the ability to be a mechanic if need be.
So you can jump out, like if it needs, something tightened or whatever, you can just pop the hood and go
so
at
if we're in flight, I can just walk out on the wing and, just fix it.
Nice.
But no, not really.
Welcome to Own the Jet by Aspen Aero Group, where we share perspectives from some of the leading voices in private jet ownership and business aviation. I'm your host, Derek Savage, along with my co-host, Jason Spoor, president of Aspen Aero Group. Join us as we dive deep into the mechanics, mindset, and moments that define jet ownership. And together, we'll learn what it takes to own the jet.
Jason Spoor, welcome to Own the Jet. As the co-host, you are always with us on Own the Jet, but we haven't really had much of a chance to get to know you. So let's do that.
No, we certainly haven't.
So you're actually the president and founder of Aspen Aero Group, an aircraft brokerage, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
So, that's correct.
But that's not all you've done in aviation.
No.
So you've been a pilot, a director of aviation, a lot of things. Mm-hmm. How'd you get here?
So aviation and being a pilot all started at a very young age.
Okay.
It's kind of a family type thing. My father was also a pilot. He, at a young age, I was at the airport watching him go out and fly little airplanes around and being a part of that lifestyle and kind of watching that.
Yeah.
As I grew up, of course, learned how to fly. A good friend of mine also learned how to fly about the same time. And so it was fun kind of being able to do something with him as well.
Where was that, here in Indiana?
That was in Michigan.
Right?
Michigan.
Yeah, you're originally from Michigan.
Yeah, just outside of Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Nice.
So when I was 14 years old, 15 years old, my dad started doing flight instruction with me, and on my 16th birthday, I actually was able to solo, meaning I was flying an airplane for the first time by myself.
Nice.
Actually, a nice snowy day up in Michigan, and was able to have that accomplishment, that milestone. So from there, it just evolved. Went to school to get my A&P. So I was able to be a mechanic if need be. So airframe and power plant. So in addition to the flying and the ratings of being a pilot, I also have the ability to be a mechanic if need be.
So you can jump out, like if it needs, something tightened or whatever, you can just pop the hood and go
so
at
if we're in flight, I can just walk out on the wing and, just fix it.
Nice.
But no, not really. But I do have that experience and background. Sweet. Some of it, not a ton of it, but I do have it.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Yeah.
Did you always know which path you wanted to go on?
Yeah.
Or like how did you?
Yeah, always wanted to be a pilot. That was always the goal.
I thought you were going to say always wanted to co-host on the jet.
That was it.
Yeah.
Never in my life did I think this would ever happen.
Yeah.
So, but we'll get to this.
Okay.
I did the A&P thing, the maintenance thing.
Sure.
Because my goal was to be a corporate pilot.
Okay.
And
what age was this?
Late teens, early 20s.
So early 20s, you wanted to be a corporate pilot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting.
Because growing up, I worked in a hangar up at Grand Rapids Airport.
Okay.
So after school, I would leave school and I'd go over to the airport, and it was a freight company at the time.
Okay.
And so I would pull the airplanes out of the hangar. I would fuel them. I'd check the oil, and the pilots would come and.
Okay, so you were already kind of like in just like enveloped in this industry, and like you saw pilots every day. You saw the lifestyles that they lived, and all of those things, and that's kind of what you wanted to be when you grew up.
Sort of, kind of.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I watched corporate flight departments that were around us at the airport. I watched those jets leaving and coming and going, and I thought, wow, that's fantastic.
Nice.
But the other side of me is I've always loved business.
Okay.
I'm intrigued by business.
Yeah.
So I'm intrigued by what makes people tick. I'm intrigued by what and how companies work.
Yeah.
So I always had that as also part of my being.
Yeah.
So corporate aviation and being able to be around business and watching business thrive, as well as watching an airplane do its job supporting the business, was always something that was incredibly intriguing and valuable to me.
Okay.
And I wanted to be a part of that. So the airline world and going to be an airline pilot was not that captivating or romantic to me.
Right.
But what was being involved in a company and watching a corporate airplane really develop a company.
Okay, so you weren't just trying to fly 737s around.
No.
You wanted to be around the people that were making the decisions and kind of like learning and seeing
watching
that work.
what they do, how they do it, and how, but more so how the airplane or the business aviation side of the company helps support it, helps build it.
Okay, nice.
So, various companies throughout my career, whether it's Fortune 500 or a high net worth type person that has an airplane that built a business, or just people using aircraft to better their business, better their lifestyle. That was something I've always just really enjoyed. Captivated me, just absolutely captivated me.
Nice.
And to watch, people being able to do a morning in the office and get on a jet and do a high-level meeting in another city or state that afternoon, and still be able to make it home, to be at work the next day and be with their family, but to be at work the next day and build this business was just fascinating.
That's pretty badass.
Yeah. And you look, at the beginning of how corporate aviation started, and, when people started to realize, hey, wait, outside of transporting mass populations of people from one place to another, we can use this airplane as a business tool, and we can make this work.
Yeah.
We can build our business, grow our foundation, grow our relationships, grow our network. Quickly.
Nice.
So
through all this, you became a commercial pilot, and then you, from there, moved into directing fleets of aircraft, right?
Well, yeah, sort of, kind of.
Okay. What's the path?
Yeah.
Take me on the journey, Jason.
So, started flying. First flying job was just south of Indianapolis, Indiana.
Okay.
Medical company. And that's kind of, came in green.
Okay.
And that's where I learned.
Nice.
And so as time went on, transitioned into another company.
Okay.
Learned some more there, transitioned into another company.
Okay.
At that point, probably in the business for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
And it was just a natural progression to go into a leadership type role.
Gotcha.
So did that, went into a chief pilot role, overseeing a group of pilots and airplanes, and just, working into management, learning how to work with people.
Yeah.
And then from there, director of aviation.
Nice.
Where you're overseeing the flight department, budgets, people,
so
airplanes.
let me learn a little bit about that.
Yeah.
So director of aviation means that you are not only in charge of the people, but in charge of the aircraft as well, and the decisions surrounding the aircraft.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah.
So
traditionally, yes.
All the maintenance, all the what aircraft you're going to buy, all that stuff, right?
Yeah. So, depending on the company and the size of the company, probably depends on that role.
Sure.
But let's just take a Fortune 500 company.
Okay.
So a director of aviation or a vice president of aviation, one and the same. This person is going to be responsible for that department.
Right.
So he's going to be the one reporting to whoever he or she reports to.
Right.
And giving the report. Here's where the flight department is. Here's the status of our flight department.
Gotcha.
Here's where I recommend we go with it. These are the things that we need to do to keep ourselves relevant.
Gotcha.
So
they tell you hey, we need this many executives going this many places, make it work.
That's right.
And you figure it out.
That's right. Right. So that part of the business comes down, right? So how the company is established, and there might be some input from this director or vice president type person as to how much they can do.
Sure.
Based on what they have.
Here's what we're looking to spend.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. How much are we looking to spend? How many planes do we have to do it? How many people do we have to do it? Can we do it?
Yeah.
And so that's that person's job, is to keep that machine running.
Gotcha.
So like you said, maintenance, pilots, cleaning.
That can probably get real expensive real quick.
It can get real expensive real quick. But, we look at the expense of it. If your director or your vice president of aviation is good at what they do,
right,
they're going to be able to come back to you and validate that cost, right? because we want to be able, we're not making money. We're not a profit center for the company.
Right,
we're not selling widgets. We're not doing anything like that. What they are doing, though, is they are providing a service in the sense of being able to move Executive A from Cincinnati to wherever in a timely fashion and make his time count. He's making X amount of dollars.
Well, I mean, the validation is like, hey, our company's like twice as big as our competitor because we were able to get the right people in the right places.
And keeping it there.
Yeah.
So not only is it there, but keeping it at that status.
Yeah.
So we want to be sure as a flight department that we're coming back with value.
Yeah.
You know, we want to be valuable.
Nice.
The only time that, but even there's still value here too, and that's a high net worth person, you know, using the airplane to travel to the Bahamas or Costa Rica, London, England, wherever they're going, so on and the same.
I love Costa Rica.
Costa Rica. But, you know, again, there's value to that person to do that. So you want to make sure that you're providing the best service you can.
Well, fast forward to today.
Yeah.
So, now we've got Aspen Aero Group, right?
Right. So looking at my life, and what I've done. So running through these various Fortune 500 companies and being in leadership roles and being able to talk to high-level people in these companies.
Right.
Again, as I alluded to earlier, there's always that business side of my life. And I've enjoyed, you know, doing different businesses, not only in aviation, but various other little companies I've started here and there. Some failed, some didn't. But, you know, just
we're going to have to dive into those one of these days.
Yeah,
I'm a fan.
They're very diverse from aviation. With that said, you know, the thought was, well, I've worked with aircraft brokers my whole career.
Yeah.
Whether buying or selling a company's airplanes or, you know, no matter what we're doing. Why don't we give that a go? Why don't we give it a try?
Yeah.
Again, with the maintenance knowledge, the leadership knowledge of what we do with airplanes, how airplanes fit into companies and individuals, and et cetera. Yeah. Why not take that knowledge and having flown, you know, so I have 12 type ratings in different airplanes. So whether it's a Falcon jet, you know, flown them, Gulfstream product, flown them. Bombardier product, flown them.
Yeah.
Cessna's not so much, but either way, you know, with that background and also the A&P background and just knowing who to go to find out what I need.
Yeah.
It puts me in a position where, as a brokerage company, we can offer our clients some pretty excellent service. Versus,
let's talk
versus our other people.
Let's talk about that. Like I have, so I've known you for a little while now, and I've seen you surrounding yourself with a lot, not just externally, we'll talk about that in a second, but internally in Aspen, like you've been surrounding yourself with really, really good people that are just experts at what they do and just really good communicators, really knowledgeable people that are helping your clients get the right aircraft for them.
Yeah.
So can you talk about internal Aspen a little bit and how you've been working to build that?
So as an individual, I'm a very team-oriented person. I know what I know, but if I keep that to myself and try to run a business based solely on me, I'm going to fall short. So looking again, growing up watching some of these dynamic people lead some pretty significant companies.
Yeah.
The key that I've seen in what they do and how they do it is they always attach themselves to good people. So whether it's Procter & Gamble or whatever company it is, I guarantee you that CEO, that mid-level vice president has done, if they're going to do good, they've surrounded themselves with a great team. You know, so looking at Aspen and how we build that out. You know, are we a regional company? No. You know, it's a national brand, right? Mm-hmm. So whether it's here, whether it's in Phoenix or somewhere else, you know, we have people in play that are good at what they do and they know exactly where to go to, but we function as a team. So if you need some help on something, there's guaranteed to be somebody in our group that has a good idea what to do and how to do it.
It's one thing for Aspen to have the right people in place, but it's another for people to know you, right?
Yeah.
For you to know people.
For sure.
So let's talk about that a little bit, because I know you know, Own the Jet is an Aspen thing, right?
It is.
And so let's talk about one, what that means for your potential clients,
Sure.
and then also, you know, how you're able to use some of the relationships that you've gotten from, not just from Own the Jet, but from all the relationships you've had throughout your career, to help, get people in the right aircraft situation.
Going back to that, you hear this a lot, and no matter if it's in aviation or the engineering world, whatever, it's a small industry. It really isn't. Within the United States, we have 16,000 jets flying around. So if you take that number times two pilots, et cetera, you're 32,000 roughly. Yeah. I don't even know how many licensed pilots, professional pilots there are, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
So our business seems small, and it has its small pockets.
Yeah.
But it's really a fairly large industry to the tune of billions of dollars a year, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's in aircraft sales or maintenance. So to go back to what you said, over 29, 30 years being in this business, I've obviously developed relationships with maintenance folks, aircraft manufacturing folks, aircraft sales, whether it's new or used aircraft, all of which we use in our business as we're talking to a potential customer to get them in the right airplane.
Yeah.
As a company, looking at marketing, how do we get our brand out there? Obviously partnering with you.
Right.
And sitting and brainstorming. And
we made a show.
We made a show. And so why not with your background and what you know and some past associations, it's let's develop a show where we can help people navigate aircraft ownership, aircraft purchasing, et cetera, et cetera.
It's crazy to me how big of an industry aviation is, and how many people are involved in aviation, and how few things are out there like this. I mean, I would love to go on other people's shows and talk about stuff too, right? So if you got an aviation podcast, hit us up.
Yeah, for sure.
It was crazy to me whenever we were researching all of this, right, and talking about like, well, hey, how do we bring all of our friends together?
Right, and we've done that. Last year we were able to talk with Preston Holland.
Yeah.
So we'll just take a few seconds and talk about Preston. Here's a young man that comes into a business, had some aviation background, sort of, kind of.
Yeah.
And, with a bigger organization, and starts his own company, starts a podcast.
Yep.
And, woof, takes off. And what Preston's doing today is, weekly talking about current events, what's happening, who's suing who's buying who, whatever.
Right.
And it's good stuff. And what you and I talk about, and, as we develop the show and talk about how we're going into the future, our big thing is, talking to manufacturers, getting them on camera. What's your product?
Yeah.
What do you like about your product? What do you want to tell the masses about your product? And not only that, but learning, we'll talk to some flight departments and, how does this all work? How do airplanes work in your...
Right. Right, and bringing the perspective of people that are buying jets or owning jets, and all of the considerations that they need to go through, because it can be a minefield if you don't know what you're doing.
Absolutely.
So it's just a matter of knowing the right people, being able to surround yourself with people you trust and a team that you trust in order to get you to the place where you want to be with it. But it's like, where do you start?
Right.
So that's what we're hoping to kind of bring to people here.
Yeah. And so backing it up a little bit, starting Aspen at my place in life.
Sure.
I wish I would have done this a lot earlier, because I do. I enjoy the business side of it. I enjoy, the fun of going out there and trying to make some things work. Going back to something I said even earlier is I'm very intrigued with people who buy airplanes. What did they do that they were able to get to this place where they need an airplane to make something happen?
How'd you get yourself in this situation?
And most of them, it's like, it just fell together.
Yeah.
You hear that a lot. But
interesting.
There was no,
So I didn't have a plan.
I didn't really have a plan.
I just
started digging a hole and I found gold.
Yeah. Well,
and it's interesting. So I really enjoy that. So with that being said, it's not just a transaction. It's fun to hear your story and know you. And how does this work for you?
Right.
And does it work for you?
Yeah. Me specifically, or like the person you're selling?
Well, not you specifically, but but we want to make sure.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. We want to make sure we put you into a position where you're going to succeed. Because if I put you in a bad situation with an airplane, that's not good. Right. And what I've learned too is that, a lot of these individuals that get into aircraft ownership, they're naive to it, right? They're never going to admit that to you or say that to you. Sure. These guys these people have done such a great job at building a business, and they've done that well. But now aviation is complex.
Yeah, and they're stepping into a world they're not familiar with.
Yeah, and it's intimidating. Yeah, and it's is it maybe scary a little bit?
So, it's a lot of money,
and it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money to risk.
You want to be sure that you're putting that value and that trust into something that's going to give you that back, value back. And there's so many people in our industry, unfortunately, that are just looking to make that dollar and turn that profit. But for us, it's relational. If I sell you an airplane or if I don't sell you an airplane, at least I got to know you.
Yeah.
See what
if you do right by people, you're going to make that dollar.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just going to come with territory.
Well, right. But I think going back to last year, one of the most interesting persons that we talked to. Yeah. We talked to a lot of great people that I would look up to or admire, would be Roger Woolsey.
Oh, yeah.
Here's a guy.
Roger was great.
Yeah. Here's a guy who has built a successful aviation business. And he's done it straightforwardly, trustworthily. Yeah. And, just somebody that just keeps plowing away and hitting it every day. Yeah. And to me, that's a great thing.
But what's cool is we meet, not to downplay Roger because Roger's amazing, but we've been meeting so many people that are just like, wow.
Yeah.
It's
like blows your mind every day.
And
we haven't even got into looking at some of the future, right? The supersonic, the electric stuff. And so that's going to be a lot of fun as the years go on and as we start talking about that and some of the innovators and movers in those spaces. Yeah. Again, going back to Aspen, I just felt that it's time for me to try something, and if I don't, then I'm gonna get too old to try it later. Yeah. So
you don't want to be sitting there with regrets.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And you're doing it, man. People are actually buying aircraft from you, and
they are.
And you are, you're building the team, you're running the business, you're carving out your place.
That's right.
And aviation.
And there is when we interviewed some other brokers as well. Well, one in particular, Guardian. Yeah, they're great people, and there's other great brokers out there. And what would be great is if and we all work together.
Yeah, for every buyer, there's a seller. We'd love to do deals with all the good ones.
All of them.
Yeah. Yep. Well, great. So what does the future hold for Aspen?
Obviously, we want to see growth. Every year, of course, we want to be building our business. And again, going back to what we talked about and how we do that is by values and core values and processes. And so putting those together and refining them with every transaction we do, making our business better.
If there's something, if I'm interested in owning a jet, right? If I'm somebody that I think I'm ready to get into that conversation, what's something that you would want me to know about getting into this that maybe I'm not considering?
Well, there's a lot, right? Yeah. And we kind of went over that. It can be intimidating because there is a lot that goes into it, because having an asset or having a piece of equipment is great and fine. But this asset is also a federally regulated asset. Yeah. So we have the FAA out there.
Dang it.
So we want to make sure, and this is the part that, there's trust. So we want to make sure that that airplane is complying with everything it needs to comply with. But going back to what you asked, with that said, we want to make sure that you're aware that not only is it buying this asset and it's in a hangar, but you're going to need people to fly that plane unless you're going to fly it yourself, which some people do, depending. But also it's going to need maintenance. It needs fuel. It needs other things besides just.
So before I know it, all these other things start stacking up, and maybe I haven't thought about those before. Maybe I haven't considered this.
That's right. We want to make sure that you're aware of that, because again, going back to what we talked about a little earlier, the last thing I want to do is set you up for failure with an airplane.
Yeah. So if I come to you and I'm like, hey, I want to buy this specific plane, you're gonna have me pause. And start examining them.
Most likely.
Yeah.
Because depending on the individual, they've already, we have this great thing, the internet. So people can research all of this data. Yeah. And they can pull this data. Yep. And so they're coming in preloaded most of the time. Hey, I'd really love to buy this Gulfstream 500. It looks really cool and it's really nice and it goes a long ways. And
like going to your doctor and telling them what prescription you want. Yeah.
Right. Hey, I Googled my symptoms and I need this. Yeah. So we want to make sure that you're well aware of what that looks like. And is this something that now that you've seen it fully transparent, we want to make sure you're aware of what you're getting into. Is this something that you can afford? Is this something you need? Do you really need an airplane?
Is it a need or a want?
Right.
Does it support your business case?
That's right. So we want to, of course, the vetting process of that. We just want to make sure that this is going to fit what you want to do. Or is this an airplane that we're building up to?
Right.
Maybe, hey, here's an idea. We'll start here and work the way.
Right.
You're
like, maybe charter for a while.
Yeah.
And then see how you
possible.
Like it. Yeah.
There's all sorts of options, right? So, within the industry, you have charter.
Yeah.
You have whole ownership and buying an airplane, and then you have quarter share ownerships.
Yeah.
And jet cards. And, there's multiple ways to get to corporate and access, private aviation.
So let's say I'm ready to have the conversation. I have a business. I have a business use case. I have, I'm having to travel regularly, and I've got the money, ready to talk. What's the best way for me to get the conversation started with?
It's reaching out to us, AspenAeroGroup.com. Contact us, fill out the form, and somebody will reach out, and we'll be sure to get that conversation rolling.
Right. And once I start that conversation, let's say I want to own a jet, how long typically, what's my expected timeline?
Typically, depending on how eager you are and what the market is for what we're looking for, the availability, what airplanes are out there to buy, the inventory.
What's today?
45 days.
Okay.
60 days.
I'm getting a jet by Christmas, by the 4th of July.
You're getting one by Memorial Weekend, for sure.
All right, sweet. It's great to get to learn a little bit about Aspen Aero Group, learn a little bit more about you and how you got here. I'm so used to having you in the co-host seat.
Yeah.
It's great to have you move over here and actually get to know you a little bit better.
For sure.
So thank you.
It's good.
Thank you for joining us. Make sure check out AspenAeroGroup.com if you have any questions about getting started in aircraft purchasing and owning aircraft.
Absolutely.
And until then, join us next time where we will learn what it takes to own the jet.
Thank you for watching Own the Jet. If you want to see more Own the Jet, make sure to subscribe to our channel on YouTube and leave a comment telling us what aspect of jet ownership you'd like to know more about. Own the Jet is brought to you by Aspen Aero Group, your trusted partner in private and corporate jet ownership. Learn more at AspenAeroGroup.com. This has been a Savage Media production.